Welcome back to the Bullet Girl Podcast. I'm Kyra. All right, let's welcome Tara to the show. Welcome in, Tara.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm really excited for this conversation.
Awesome. Well, let's get started by having you tell the audience listening or watching who you are and what you do.
Sure. So I'm Tara. And to sum it up, I am extremely passionate about helping others achieve their goals through focus and time management. I run a coaching business as well as a fractional executive assistant business where we help startups scale for success. But I really am extremely passionate about helping others. And I've always said that I've been put on this planet to help others succeed.
Awesome. I love that. All right. Well, let's dive right on in because one of the things, a lot of the people in this community and listeners of this podcast are people who are juggling multiple roles. They may be professionals, they may be students, they may be starting their own businesses as well, and just really trying to. And then that's just the professional side, right? And then you look at people who have just your regular everyday life, just trying to live. You mentioned moving. Like, look, you're trying to juggle a lot of things on top of what you just told us that you did. So let's talk about what are some of the key time management strategies that you might recommend for women who might be listening to try to find some balance, but still on the other side of that, right? Reaching our goals.
Yeah, so that's a pretty loaded question, and I could probably talk for about 3 hours on that subject. So I will try to condense my passion in answering that question. But I want to take it back a little bit and tell a little bit about how I got started in this whole crazy world of helping people set their goals. So when I was really young, I had a shirt that said, "Remember me, I'm going to be a star." And I wore that shirt everywhere to the point where it disintegrated. I really wish I still had it today. I guess I could go out and make one, but it's not the same. But the problem was in my very young, undeveloped brain, I always thought that being a star was being a rock star. So up on stage, dancing, singing, playing a musical instrument. And the problem with me is I have zero musical talent at all. When I sing, it sounds like a dying animal. It is horrible. I actually always have a guitar behind me, but as we kind of hinted, I am moving. So that's been packed already. But I use it for show and not really to play. So I thought, well, like, there goes my big dream. I'm never going to be a star. I guess I'm going to be just an ordinary human being. And at 9 years old, I decided to just like throw away my big dream in life. But for some reason, and I tell this story a lot, I really, really wish I knew why. I don't, but something inside me told me to not throw away the entire dream, to hold on to just a little bit of it and put it in my figurative back pocket and just walk around with it. And that's what I did. And some days would go by, weeks, months, even years, where I wouldn't even remember that I had this big dream until I came to that pivotal moment in life, where you have to make those like hard decisions. And I would always go, "Oh yeah, I wanted to be a rock star. Okay, still can't dance, really can't sing." But it helped me form my decisions and kind of pave my path into what I actually do. And I started not necessarily being up on stage as the rock star, but supporting rock stars as their personal and executive assistant, running their lives, running their careers. And so like kind of my dream helped form the way that my kind of life went. And because I was always so fascinated in, why them? Why Beyonce? Why Lady Gaga? Why Taylor Swift? Like, why are these people the ones up on stage and not necessarily me? And I didn't really want to be up on stage at that point. I absolutely love being an assistant and helping in the back behind the scenes. But I was still extremely fascinated in what built success and what maintained their success.
Mhm.
And that's why I kind of got really involved in what they were doing on their day to day to actually build and maintain the success. And when I finally came off the road and opened up my own businesses, I took the lessons that I learned from out on the road and these really, really super successful people and built my businesses through that. And that's what I like to share on
Mhm.
podcasts with my coaching clients and all of that. So, number one, big kind of takeaway from all of that is we all have a goal. Please do not let go of it completely. I know life can get in the way. We can get really busy doing other things, but always hold that goal close and make sure that every single day you are doing at least one thing to drive that goal forward. So
Mhm.
a lot of times we talk about like priorities. We always hear like write down your top 3 priorities for the day, make sure you do them. And I think people confuse priorities with what other people kind of think are urgent and not necessarily what is important to us and true to
Mhm.
our goals. So,
Mhm.
we could write down a priority of, oh, I have to make a dentist appointment for my child, or I have to, renew my passport or something like that, which is, yes, extremely important. But is it helping you towards your goal? Maybe not.
Right.
So let's make sure
Mhm.
we do one thing to help us achieve our goal and move that needle on our goal. And then we can concentrate on the dentist appointments and all that kind of busy work that gets in the way of most people achieving their dreams.
Mhm. Yeah, because those other things, like, making the appointments and things, while they are important, they're just like tasks. They're just, some daily tasks that you have, things you have to do to keep the lights on, so to speak. But the things that
Yeah.
you need to make sure you're reaching the goals, like those are the things that you need to focus on. And I like that you called out that you have to do the things that are important to meet your goals and not what someone else sees as priority, because other people don't care about, I mean, I'm not saying they don't, but in the grand scheme of it, when people ask you to do something, they're not saying, does this fit in your priorities for your goal that you're trying to reach? They're just like,
No.
well, I need you to help me. I need you to do this thing. And it really falls back to us to determine where to prioritize and put those things. Where do they live in our like overall list of things?
Yeah, it's so true. And, you started out by saying, how do we kind of prioritize all these things that are happening,
Mhm.
wanting to run a successful business or start a business, families, just so much commitment. And so I would say, make sure you know what your one goal is. And
Mhm.
in that like busy, busy days, every day is so busy, make sure that you actually are doing one thing towards that goal. I always love to
Mhm.
say that kind of one of my celebrity kind of time management success secrets that I've witnessed is focus. And celebrities, professional athletes, they are the most determined and focused individuals I have ever met in my entire life. And I truly believe that focus on the end goal is what sets successful people apart from non successful people
Mhm.
or people who struggle. So we can get, again,
Mhm.
very tied down and inundated with all these things that are happening, which are, yes, extremely important. But if you have a goal, then you need to make sure that you are focusing a little bit of time on achieving that goal, that dream,
Mhm.
whatever it is. And goals don't necessarily have to be, I want to make $1 million. I want to be rich. I want to build this massive business. It can be, I want to be the best volunteer in, my church group, or I want to be
Mhm.
the best mom in the schoolyard, or whatever it is.
Mhm.
So you
Mhm.
don't necessarily have to think, well, I don't have a dream. I don't have a goal. I'm just, a stay at home mom or something. That's absolutely not true. I know that everybody has goals and dreams.
Mhm. Yeah, and another thing that I really like that you highlighted was when you were telling your own story and saying, originally you thought, oh, I want to be a rock star, but you also identifying and knowing like, well, I don't necessarily have that talent to be on the stage, but you were still able to form a career around still that dream. You just found where you fit into it. You found where you fit into that world. And I think that is one thing that people don't do enough of. It's like a lot of times, like just, okay, let's just use this as an example to say if someone said, oh, I want to play professional basketball, but but I've tried, but I'm not really good at basketball. I'm not actually I'm not really that athletic. But it's, taking a look at the careers inside of the space and how can you still reach that goal of like being in the space, but maybe you're not the person playing. And I think a lot of times people let go of a dream because it doesn't necessarily look the way that they thought it would look. So you definitely have to always, I've learned personally, you have to always keep a very open mind. Keep your mind and your heart open because you never know like what's going to be for you. Maybe not that thing, but maybe it's still in that same area, but just it just doesn't look how you thought it was going to look.
Yeah, it's so true. And I believe that people also get caught up in what other people are doing. So they'll read a book from their favorite basketball player because that's what they think that they want to do, or their favorite, or like the CEO at the moment that's making headlines, or, all of these people. And then they go, okay, well, they have this morning routine. I'm going to copy this morning routine and this time management strategy and this goal setting strategy, and I'm going to be a success. And people come to me and they go, well, it didn't work for me. Why does it work for them? And it's because we're all individuals, and what works for one person and how they wrote a book about it is great, but it doesn't necessarily mean that copying it exactly is going to work for you and your lifestyle. So you need to kind of figure out what works best. It's one of my biggest pet peeves is people trying to copy other people's goals, copy other people's productivity, time management, goal setting. It's just something that people really need to realize that it is unique to them. And really get in tune with, what do I want in life, and be selfish about it. It's your goals, it's your dreams.
Yeah. And Tara, what would you say when people come to you? What is generally like the sort of biggest obstacle that you see as you begin to work with your clients?
Yeah, so there's a couple. So I get a lot of people who have heard of obviously different time management techniques and being able to achieve goals. And the biggest one that that people usually try is time blocking in their calendar, which I am an absolutely huge advocate for. However, a lot of people, especially creative people, will see the time blocks in their calendar and get extremely overwhelmed that there is no blank space. Now, even though people are blocking blank space in their calendar, like free time, lunch, exercise, whatever it is, they just see all these blocks and just get so overwhelmed. So that's something that we work through. And again, it's trying to copy other people. Everyone else time blocks for success. I'm going to too. So yes, let's take it's all about taking the techniques that I know that work, but organizing them and changing them up a little bit so it works for the specific individual. So yes, let's time block the really important tasks and appointments and meetings on the calendar, and let's leave the free space free so you don't get so overwhelmed. Or a lot of people will think that if they block in creative time between 9 and noon on Tuesday, and they wake up and they go to sit down and they are not feeling creative at all, and they just can't force it, then they think that, well, my whole day is gone. I'm, useless. I can't achieve anything today. But it's
Mhm.
not. Time management, time blocking is all about being flexible. If you're not feeling creative
Mhm.
today or at 9 o'clock, try to do something else. And then maybe at 12, you're going to feel creative, or maybe at 10 p.m. tonight, something will hit you. So it's all about kind of rearranging again your schedule and not just setting something in stone. This is what people told me to do and going for it.
Mhm.
My other big kind of takeaway for a lot of people who come to me is everyone is trying to do everything at once, which is
Mhm.
a big pet peeve of mine. I am not a fan of multitasking, and I am not a fan of like
Mhm.
trying to set a million different systems and going for them all at once. So I really like to be able
Mhm.
to try and form one kind of habit at a time and get really good at that one habit, and then move on to something
Mhm.
else. And then keep kind of
Yeah.
stacking the habits so you can actually create the lifestyle that you want to create.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think those two things that you said are things that I see a lot of people that struggle with because, people, the time block. Now, I do time block because I have a everyday job, a corporate job. And so I do set aside like certain hours, like in the morning from about 8 to 10 to just sort of work through, get the day started. But, I have found when it comes to the creative time or the time, especially that I spend working on Glow Up Girl, like, no, I can't really set times for that. I let the creativity just like you said, when it strikes, there are times where I might be sitting in in the family room watching TV with my husband, and then I get up at like 10:30 at night, and I'm like, oh, I'm going in the office for a little bit. And he's like, wait, what? And I'm like, I just had an idea. I got to go do it, now
Yeah.
or whatever. And so, to your point, I think it is just like keeping an open mind and an open space for creativity. And when it shows up, like you can't program creativity. And I
No,
think
you
that's,
definitely,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, you
Like
definitely
you
can't. And you
can,
can't force it either. I know a
yeah.
lot of people will say just write. Like if you have writer's block, just sit
Hmm.
down and write 2 words, which does help. Absolutely. Like if you're trying to hit a deadline and things like that. But
Yeah.
sometimes you just can't force it and you have to do something else and then come back to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I think, yeah, I've found that the time blocking works better for like more administrative or like
Yeah.
planning type projects, but not really the creative part. So and then I think too on the multitasking, um that's also very true because I'm a person who like my brain is like going in a lot of different like the squirrel runs by and I'm like, oh, let me do this, and then I start working on this, and then somebody, might ping me in Slack. So like I've had to figure out ways of like, oh, okay, I'm just going to turn those notifications off and say like, oh, I'm focusing during this time so that, people will understand like I'm going to be slow to respond. I'm not going to respond to you like
Yeah.
in the next 2 hours. And so yeah, so I think it's just to an earlier point that you made, it's really finding something that works for you because everybody is different and nobody's you might get tips from people and you might try them, but then you may say, oh yeah, well, that works for them. But like you said, I think we do live in a space where people, because they see success in someone else and someone doing and saying, well, I get up in the morning and I do this routine like you mentioned, and they try to do that routine and that routine doesn't feel authentic to them, so then they end up struggling because they're trying to keep up this routine, but then they're still not meeting any goals because they're so busy, they're so focused on the routine.
Yeah, totally. It's actually interesting. So when I started my very first business back in 2007, I had just come off of touring with some really big rock bands. So I was gone for like 300 days a year, and I decided to come off the road and start my own business. And I had zero business background at all. I always say I was a dirty roadie. I was like out with the circus. I had no idea. I had a dream that I wanted to help more than one crazy rock star at a time, but I had no idea what I wanted to do. So, what do we all do? We Google it. back in 2007, Google wasn't as sophisticated. There was no chat GPT. But I remember Googling how to start a successful business. And two things came up. One was to hustle, which I didn't like because I wanted something tactical, and hustling was like, I don't understand what you want me to do. Tell me to send 100 emails, tell me a day, tell me to do something. Don't just tell me to be busy. So I didn't like that. The other thing that it told me was to network, which is something that I actually held on to and am still pretty passionate about today, because I believe that we are only as good as our network. But it's true. It comes back to like, I was trying to copy Google. Like I was trying to figure out what hustle meant. And to this day, you can still, even with the more sophisticated Google and Chat GPT, it will still give you very generic time management, goal setting techniques, which are a great way to get started. I'm just a big believer in taking those and making them extremely unique for yourself. And a lot of people go, well, I'm waiting for the right time. I'm waiting for the right motivation, or I don't feel motivated today. But that's like another kind of success trick that I've seen that the really successful people use, is that they create their own motivation. So yes, some days we may not feel like checking that one thing for our goal off our list. We may have like moved our time blocks around for that creative time, and it's now 10 p.m. and we still haven't been creative. But it's the successful people are the ones who can kind of push back past that uncomfortable, I don't want to do it, I don't feel like doing it, I don't think I'm good enough to do it, I'm not ready to do it, kind of feelings, and actually go to the other kind of side. And that's how success is built. So I'm a big believer in creating your own motivation to kind of keep going, to keep doing the things, to not copy other people. It's you, it's your life, it's your goals. And to just, I always like to say I can sum up these podcasts in 4 words, and it is just do the thing. And that's really all we have to do. We all know what it is we have to do. Are we doing it? Maybe not. So try to figure out how you can just do the thing on a day-to-day basis.
Awesome. I love that, because that was my next question for you. So
I ran right into it.
I love that you just flow into it, because I do think that's really important, is the part of how do you motivate yourself, because it is very much up to you to motivate yourself to want to meet the goal. Nobody else is going to do that. And I tell people all the time, it's like when you start doing anything, but more specifically, when you start a business, there's not going to be like a cheering squad standing outside of your office when you walk in every morning going, you can do it, Kyra. You got it, girl. You got it. Today's the day. Like, no, I mean, half the time people aren't even asking you like how it's going. How's the business? Nobody's really even asking you that. And I mean, I don't say I take offense to that, because guess what? Everybody has their life and their things. But all I'm saying is that I have to dig inside of me to motivate myself, even when the times get tough, or I'm figuring like, oh my gosh, like what am I going to do? Like I have to dig in deep, and I have to be focused. I think you also have to just also be very open to pivoting when something doesn't align or go the way that you thought. Like you have to have an open mind and be able to change your course at any time as well.
It's so true. I actually saw this amazing video on LinkedIn. I think I've reposted it about 1,000 times, because it is so true. And it's this man running on a treadmill, and then somebody throws like Lego pieces on the treadmill, and he's trying to like run on the Lego pieces, and then someone hands him like something really heavy to carry, and he's trying to do that, and then like all these things happen, and it was like life of an entrepreneur. And it's so true, because all these things, we think we know our goal. I'm just going to run on a treadmill for 30 minutes, exercise, and then all these things come to us. And it's so, how do we keep going through that through that pain. And, I'm not naive. I know it is extremely hard to keep pushing past what you need to push past. And I actually have a system that I love to do every single day, and it's rate my day. And, I run two businesses. I get sued. I have angry people. There's, like lawyers. Like my days are crap a lot of the time. But I actually think, have I had a good day, even if all this crap has happened? And I weigh it on three things. And it is one, have I given my absolute all today? Like everything that I possibly can give and working towards what I'm passionate about. So right now it's about building my businesses. Maybe some people have it building their families, whatever it is. But have I given everything that I possibly can to something that I am extremely passionate about? Okay, yes, I dealt with all that crap. Yes, okay, I've done that. Number two is, have I taken at least, 2 minutes to do something for myself? So a lot of times we hear people say, block off 2 hours in the morning or the evening, make sure you meditate, make sure you do all of these things, which is great. And if it works for you, please continue doing it. But a lot of people get stressed out because they're like, I'm supposed to meditate, I'm supposed to work out, I'm supposed to do all these things. And now it's like, I've been up since 5 a.m. It's now 10. I haven't done anything, except work on myself. So I like to say, for me personally, have I done at least 5 minutes to have a breath, enjoy my really warm first sip of coffee, spend an extra 5 minutes petting my cats, which I absolutely love to do. Like whatever it is. Okay. Yes. I've taken that little moment for myself. And then another thing I really like is to measure my day is, have I connected with at least one person that I love and care about? So have I sent, and I don't like to do it forcefully, make sure you reach out to one person in your network a day. I don't like that. But have I, again, been able to snuggle with my cat? I always talk about my cat. My poor husband is left behind. But, have I been able to snuggle with my cat a little bit extra? Have I been able to text my mom, things like that? And then, okay, I've had a good day. I've been actually able to have a good day, even though all these crazy things happened to me. And that allows me to then sleep at night and get up in the next morning and go, okay, I'm going to have another good day. Yes, all these things may be thrown at me, but can I at least, accomplish these three things?
I love that. All right. Tarra, please tell us about programs you offer or how the audience can work with you and connect with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So if anybody is excited and passionate about achieving some sort of goal in their life, I would love to work with you. It doesn't necessarily have to be business focused. You can find me on LinkedIn, Tarra Stubbins, Tarra with 2 R's. I'm the only one there. On socials, I'm Tarra's Time. My website is tarrastubbins.com, and my official executive assistant business is Take It Easy. You can find me there as well.
Awesome. And we'll make sure we drop all those links in the show notes. All right. So now we're going to transition into 3 things with Tarra. I'm going to ask you 3 questions. It just helps our audience get to know you better on a personal level. So the first one is a 2-parter. How do you start and end the day?
We just talked a lot about
that. I know. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you know how I end my
like,
day.
Yeah.
I ask myself those 3 questions.
Yes.
I'm a big believer in getting the day started right away. So I'll wake up, I'll get myself a cup of coffee, I'll feed my cats, and I go right into the biggest task that needs the biggest focus and my attention. I get up pretty early. So no one else is awake. There's no Slack notifications or emails to distract me. And I really love being able to focus for a good hour, 2 hours, depending on how much I want to block off in the morning, and really kind of start my day fresh with something that I can check off. Again, creating your own motivation is all about kind of creating those and succeeding at those little tasks or even big tasks. But then, all of those things combined will create like a bigger motivation instead of waiting for that lightning strike moment. So I like to create my own little motivation every morning.
Nice. All right. Second, since you help people reach their goals, what's one goal that you set for yourself this year?
Yeah, so we actually have a really big goal for Take It Easy. And it is, we are trying to reach 750,000 MRR by the end of the year. And if we do, the entire team is going to Hawaii. So
Oh,
we are working on that. We are working on hitting the beach, which we're super excited about. And my big life goal for me personally, since we're talking about goals, is I really want to be able to help 1 million people set and achieve their goals.
awesome. Love that. All right. And the third is, where are you currently finding inspiration?
Yes, that is great. So we just talked about reading books and not copying them. So maybe I won't talk about the books that I'm reading. But I absolutely love podcasts like these. I listen to them all the time. When I'm feeling a little low, when I'm feeling a little down, I'll always Google inspirational podcasts to listen to. I'll Google, I'll search for different people talking about different things for motivation, for business techniques. I absolutely love just even starting them, even the first 5 minutes, and then bookmarking them to go back, because it really helps me kind of keep the day going when I just hear what other people are doing.
Yeah. And I think it's important. Like, like you said, if you're reading a book, like the important thing is to take from it what you can and make it your, right. And you find what can fit into your everyday pattern. Like, we're not saying you can't,
No,
you can't do
no,
what
please
somebody
don't.
else is doing,
Yeah.
but it's just when it becomes ownable for you is when it's something that you will continue. If you're just saying it, I'm doing it because I read that Beyonce. I'm saying this because I love Beyonce. I'm just, like, oh, I read that Beyonce does this. If I'm only doing it because she's doing it, then it's not going to work for Tyra. So that's
Yeah.
just that's what we mean. All right. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for the conversation today. This has been great. Lots of great tips and lots of goodies that we can use as we move forward on reaching our goals. But I'd like for you to lastly tell the audience, leave us with 3 things you'd like for us to take away from the conversation today.
Absolutely. So number one, please have a goal in mind and don't lose sight of it. No matter what happens in your life, always hold at least a little bit of that goal true to you. Number 2 is being true to yourself. So please don't copy absolutely everything that people say for productivity and time management. You are your own unique person. So create systems that are unique and work for you. And number 3 would be my biggest tip of being successful, and that is focus. So make sure that you are 1,000% focused and determined and pushing towards that goal, and you can be a success. I like to say anyone can be the Beyonce of their own lives with focus. With focus, ending multitasking, and just really understanding that true vision of their goal.
Yes, I love that. I love that. Well, Tara, thank you so much for coming. You can always come back in the future because I feel like we need to know. Like, we need to know when you meet those goals and when your team is heading to Hawaii.
Yes, we can do a podcast from Hawaii. It will be great.
Yes, you see people, you'll get to see it playing out, but keeping that focus and having a goal, you'll see that in real life.
I
Well,
love it.
well, awesome. Well, thank you so much again. And stay tuned, everyone. I'll be right back.